Where's the best place to market your business? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Get this question right and all of your marketing from this day forward will become immediately more effective. But get it wrong, most do, and you'll continue to waste time, money, and energy on platforms and strategies that just don't work. Hey there, my name is Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to The Marketing Show. All right, so where is the best place to market your business? Well, if you listen to the Facebook marketing experts, they're gonna say Facebook. If you listen to the Instagram marketing gurus, they're obviously gonna say Instagram. All of the YouTube content creators are obviously gonna say YouTube. And you know what? They're all right, but they're also all wrong, because the single worst way to pick a marketing platform is based solely on the platform itself. What I mean is that it's crazy for somebody to just come out there and say that Facebook is the best platform ever, or Instagram is the greatest marketing channel, or YouTube is where the future of marketing is going, because the reality is there's so many factors and so many variables that go into choosing the right platform for your specific business and market and location and all of these other variables. Kind of be like walking into a doctor's office and having them just hand you a bottle of pills and say, go ahead, take these, without asking any questions or diagnosing or anything like that, just prescribing you a solution. Kind of sketchy. The reality is, before you can prescribe, you first need to diagnose. So let's start there. The very first thing you need to do in order to determine the absolute best place to market your business is first craft that ideal customer avatar. Now, if you've been following me for any length of time, then you know that I'm a massive proponent of having all of your marketing live and die with that ideal customer avatar. That perfect representation of that ideal customer that loves you, loves what you do, is happy to pay you for the value you provide, and wants to tell all their friends and family about just how great you are. Well, your ideal customer avatar is going to be made up of three separate parts. First of all, the demographic details, things like age, gender, income, occupation, title, things of that nature. Next up, we're going to have geographic details like what city or state or province or country they live in. And then lastly, there's psychographic details like what are their attitudes, their interests, their beliefs, their affiliations, their groups, organizations, all of the head stuff that goes into what makes up a person. Ideally, you've done this exercise before, but if not, now is the perfect time to pause the video and quickly jot down these things. Specifically in regards to choosing the right platform, the right location, the right place to market your business, I want you to focus on age, gender, and interests. Those are going to be the three pillars that we're going to build all of this out and around and make sure that we're putting your business in the right place. All right, so now that you've accurately diagnosed your ideal customer avatar and you've got that representation, specifically their age, gender, and interests, well, now it's time to prescribe the right solution. In order to do that, we first have to take a look at what all of the available options are. So, rapid fire style, we're gonna burn through some of the most popular social media networks so you can start to line up your ideal customer avatar against the options available. And after nearly a decade of doing this, I can tell you pretty confidently that very quickly you're gonna start to see which networks are going to be potential or viable candidates and which ones are just clearly not the right fit. All right, you ready? Okay, let's dive in. Obviously, we need to start with Facebook because Facebook is the king of all social media networks. Massive monthly active users of 2.45 billion at the recording of this video, which means essentially a whole lot of people. Now, who is Facebook going to be best for? Really, this is kind of the jack of all trades social media network. So pretty much everybody. Now, granted, it will skew or will sway a little bit older than younger, and there are going to be a couple other options that we're going to cover that are going to skew or sway or, leverage a little bit younger, but just keep Facebook on your radar because as a fallback, as kind of a one-size-fits-all, you really can't go too wrong. All right, next up we have YouTube. With monthly active users of 2 billion, that's a whole lot of people, which means that no matter what market or what industry or what age or gender you're trying to reach, YouTube is a pretty viable option. That said, there are a couple massive barriers to entry with YouTube, namely the fact that you're gonna need to make videos. So if that's a no-go for you, then you may wanna put this one on the back burner, at least for now. All right, now we can start to get a little more specific, and that'll lead us to our next platform, which is Instagram. With monthly active users of 1 billion people, it's still a whole lot of people, but this is primarily going to be focused for anyone under the ages of 35. Kind of a pretty good mix of men and women, so regardless of who you're trying to reach, this is a viable option. Niching down a little bit more, we get to Twitter. monthly active users 330 million, Twitter is a bit of a tricky beast. It used to be a little more popular than it is today, but it's still a great place in order to stay on top of current trends. And if you're in the market of entertainment or sports or politics or news or anything like that, Twitter could be a pretty decent option for you to consider. All right, moving right along to LinkedIn, monthly active users 310 million. LinkedIn is very focused, almost explicitly focused on business professionals. That said, it is broadening a little bit more, but it definitely has more of that business, more professional, more work and career oriented feel. So if that's your market, if you're in the B2B or business to business space, this is going to be a network you don't want to overlook. All right, time to talk about Snapchat. With monthly active users of 360 million, Snapchat is going to be best for you if you're serving a target market of anyone between the ages of 13 and 24. So this is going to be a network that definitely skews younger. Another very similar network to Snapchat is TikTok, which typically serves around the 13 to 30-year-old audience, is right now at around 60 million monthly active users, but is quickly growing in popularity. So again, if you're trying to reach that younger demographic, this is worth considering also. And then we have Pinterest with monthly active users of 320 million. This network definitely sways more heavily towards women, and certainly in the areas of food and fashion and fitness and weddings and essentially anything that's really visually appealing. All right, so now that you've got your ideal customer avatar built, you've got a decent view of all the different available options, you can start to see very quickly which networks are going to line up with your ideal customer avatar. For example, if you're serving primarily women, you might want to look at Pinterest. And if you're serving women under the age of 35, well, then we're going to look at Pinterest and Instagram. On the other hand, if you're serving a market of over 35 in the realm of entertainment or sports, we probably want to take a look at Facebook and possibly YouTube and definitely Twitter. So all of these things start to become a lot more clear, but it all starts based on that ideal customer avatar. All right, so now that you've got that covered, there is another thing to consider, which is what kind of content you're going to be creating. You see, when it comes to creating content, you've got a few different options available. You've got video, you've got audio, and you've got text, and even some kind of graphics or infographic or animations or pictures or photos or whatever it is. Essentially, you've got a lot of different tools that you can draw from, and these are going to line up differently depending on the different social media network. For example, if you are dedicated to video and you know that video is the future, well then you've got a lot of flexibility here because you can use YouTube, you can use Facebook, you can use Instagram, you can use LinkedIn, you can use all sorts of different ones. On the other hand, if you want to avoid video completely and just stick with text, well then you're going to be a little more limited. You're going to have to look at platforms like Twitter and like Facebook and like LinkedIn. On the other hand, if you don't want to do any text, you don't want to do any video, and you just want to do audio, well then we're going to have to do a network we didn't even really talk about, which is podcasting, which again is a whole different subject and a whole different beast all to itself. It's definitely a worthwhile strategy, but I would still want you to complement it with one of the platforms and one of the networks that we're talking about here. The key here is really to find what kind of content style is best for you and best for your business and best for your audience. So if you can get away with doing video, that's fantastic because it's going to give you the most flexibility and the most creativity. But if you just can't, that's okay. You still have other options like getting photos and getting maybe even stock video and then writing your own captions or writing your own posts or transcribing audio that you've recorded from a conference or a speech or even an interview with a friend or colleague. You can then carve that up and you can put it on different social media networks. Essentially, you really are limited only by your creativity. All right, now that you know the best place to market your business, the next piece of the puzzle is learning the skills required in order to succeed on these platforms, which is why you're going to want to check out the video I have linked up right here on top digital marketing skills. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode. Is to focus on conversation generation. Now, as a diehard proponent of direct response marketing, which is really